Just to introduce myself, my name is Hisham Abdul Rahim, and I head the Islamic asset management unit here in Malaysia for BNP Paribas Investment Partners. Now, just before I start, I'd just like to congratulate all of you, the young professionals of Malaysia, for organizing this excellent conference. It's good to see that the spirit of UKEC and Promuda are still alive and well amongst the young professionals of Malaysia, and that you've taken this to the next level, whereby you've extended this to the Asia region also. Okay. Now, to start, I'll just give a brief outline on the situation of global Islamic finance and asset management. We'll do it at a glance. Then I'll go into the area of my specialization with Sharia-compliant investment solutions. I'll give a bit more introduction to our BNP Paribas Islamic business. And then looking forward, what do we expect? Okay, these are a few quotes that I've picked up. As Ayn has mentioned, the Islamic banking assets now is up to 1 trillion. It's expected to reach 2 trillion mark in 3 to 5 years' time. Overall, the Islamic asset management industry accounts for about 229 billion. This includes dedicated mandates, funds, Islamic investment accounts that currently only makes up about 31% of the Islamic banking assets. But what is even more interesting is the next one, whereby Islamic fund management is only roughly about 53 billion. And if you compare it to the world global asset management industry, which is 22 trillion, you can understand why we're starting at such a low base, that there's so much room to grow for the Islamic asset management industry within the global asset management side. And the last quote is to show the continued growth of the Islamic investment that has grown over 10% per year for the past decade. Now, this is just a map of the world to show the footprint of Islamic finance and asset management around the world. It's not surprising that Asia and Middle East are the key features, but you see some very interesting countries there that are also interested in Islamic finance. You have the US, you have Australia, you have Brazil. So not necessarily traditional Islamic countries that also are very interested in this sector. This is of 2009. Now this chart is not that surprising. I mean, you can see that the bulk of the Islamic assets in the banking side is within the Middle East, is within Southeast Asia. And what people tend to forget also when you think of Islamic finance, although it's not a flavor of the month, Iran also, it's virtually the whole economy is run on the Islamic finance. This shows the charts of Islamic banking assets. As we mentioned, it shows the growth. And then in 2009, it had reached 1 trillion already. And Islamic funds have been growing on average about 30% per year. You will notice that there is a discrepancy in terms of the NAV, whereby I earlier mentioned 52 billion and there it says 34 billion. That's one thing we are lacking slightly in terms of the data gathering on the Islamic finance side. Lipper has quoted 34 million, but when you look at Eureka Hedge, it quotes at 52 million. So over time, when there's more information flows and all that, we hope that more accurate data will be accumulated for this sector. Okay, now I move on to the Sharia-compliant solutions. Now, what is the value proposition for Islamic investments? Now, one thing about Islamic finance, Islamic asset management, it invest in activities and projects that benefit the real economy and society as a whole. It actually is one of the real engines of growth within the finance sector. And one thing about Islamic finance, it has actually a very strong risk culture. We strive on transparency. We provide certain safeguards on unhealthy investments, on high leverage. We also have an additional layer of check and balances, whereby when we have the Sharia advisors and also the Sharia secretariat to make sure that things are done properly. This will all lead to long-term sustainable returns and a healthy risk. And some people have likened our Islamic finance, Islamic asset management to SRI, sustainable and responsible investing. Now, okay, who should invest in Islamic finance? As you know, it is open to all. It's not just for Muslims, it's for Muslims and non-Muslims. So one area we can look at is best in class. Among the Islamic Sharia compliant equities, to pick the best that perform over time. And one thing also for people who are underweight financials, Islamic investments are an option. It also provides a very interesting diversification in terms of for efficient portfolio management. Islamic investments have a different risk-return profile that can complement even conventional investments. Then you have the ethical investing side, and of course those who are biased towards the adherence to Islamic principles, those who are purely Islamic or Sharia compliant entities, this is a natural investment for them. Now I'll give you a bit of introduction of BNP Paribas, our Islamic business, and also BNP Paribas Najma. Now BNP Paribas Investment Partners is the asset management arm of BNP Paribas Group. We are a French bank, and we are the asset management side. Now for our Islamic side, you can see we have three areas, our three global hubs, if you like. Asia Pacific is very much our main focus. We have Malaysia, whereby we have BNP Paribas Investment Partners Najma Malaysia, and we are actually the only Islamic entity in the whole of BNP Paribas Group, and we are situated in Malaysia. As you can see, our presence is very strong in Asia. We have our Indonesian subsidiary, we have our offices in Singapore and in Brunei. In the Middle East, we have Bahrain as our hub. We also have offices in Kuwait and Saudi Arabia, where we have a joint venture. And then in Europe, being obviously a European bank, our main HQ is in Paris, and also we have a quite big office in London. And together with all my colleagues all around the world, this is how we coordinate our Islamic business for BNP Paribas Investment Partners. Now, over time, we've actually added to our capabilities in the Islamic finance space. We started off in 2006, where we had our first Islamic fund, the Sharia Equity Optimizer, and then we were the first to actually come up with a global ETF. We were also the advisors for the My ETF that was launched in Malaysia in 2008. We had our joint venture in Saudi. Following year, we were one of the first to launch a global Sukuk fund. And then this year, we've had advisory agreements. Our Indonesian subsidiary, they were formerly of Fortis Asset Management, but with the merger of BNP and Fortis, PT Fortis Indonesia is now part of our group, and it's been named BNP Paribas Investment Partners. Now this is something I wanted just to highlight in terms of the ETF that we have, is that it's based on the Dow Jones Titan 100. Now you can see that comparing the Islamic to the conventional side, the Islamic outperforms the conventional. So it's not necessary that if you're investing in Islamic that you are expecting a lower return. Now just a brief outline on BNP Paribas Najma. This is our Islamic banking division. They are responsible to making sure everything under BNP Paribas Group, that by our name, that is Sharia compliant, is Sharia compliant to the standards of our Sharia advisors, which are the three Sharia scholars, Sheikh Nizam Yaakubi, Dr. Abdul Sattar, and Dr. Daud Bakar. We've been in the Islamic space since 1985, and 2009, we had our Najma division also set up in Malaysia. The Najma side covers the Islamic banks, and as mentioned, it covers all Sharia-compliant instruments that come under the BNP Paribas Group. So from Sukuk to financing, to asset management products, to Islamic derivatives, it has to go through Najma, who will liaise with our Sharia advisors to make sure it's Sharia compliant. This is just a few of our achievements over the years, and just a biography of our Sharia advisor. Now, looking forward, where do we see our Islamic investments, our Islamic asset management side will go? We see still increasing demand. In GCC, in Asia, there's a value proposition for both institutional investors and retail market. The increased liquidity in this area also will benefit the Islamic asset management space and also the Islamic finance space. In Malaysia, we have a very strong regulatory support from MIFC. We see certain jurisdictions also starting to get involved in the Islamic space. Indonesia is one, Brunei is another. We also see a widening of offer of the Islamic products in the Islamic space. We saw that post-crisis, Islamic funds had done better than conventional. One of the main reasons is also the underweight on financials. But this also gives a value proposition for non-Muslims to invest in Islamic funds. We expect more products to come into the market. We expect more innovative products to come into the market. And this development will continuously continue as long as there are professionals and young professionals such as yourself also in the space. Now, as I mentioned, the value proposition for the non-Muslims, again, we have, for the Islamic finance and asset management, you have stronger risk management. Islamic funds couldn't invest in conventional finance. That's why we did better again during the global crisis. And one thing about Islamic finance also, Islamic asset management, the product performs and it makes money, then it doesn't matter whether you're Muslims or non-Muslims, you still invest in the product. And I'll just leave you with this thought. Both Muslims and non-Muslims can benefit from investment solutions that stress on business sustainability, transparency, and the ethical principles. And it gives a healthy level of risk. That's